Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. And today we're going to get back into Decisive Campaigns, Ardennes Offensive. This is our Let's Play of the Grand Campaign. We are playing the Axis against the Allied AI, and last time we only got two divisions moved. I want to clip along here a little faster than that, but we had some introduction and maybe a little more explanation just because we're, just getting started talking about some big strategic type plans. But we did move this division out here, and this division is the 89th. If we click on its headquarters there's the 89th Infantry Division. It is actually stacked with its core headquarters, the 74th. Now, the 74th, the core, only has that one division, the 89th, underneath it. So, up here in the Great White North, this is a division, one division, one corps. As we then move down here, we got into the gray units here, and the gray units are the 272nd Volksgrenadier Division, okay, and they report back to this is the 67th Corps, and the 67th Corps is actually sitting right here in Vidau. Okay, so the 67th has the 272nd Division, and it's also got the 326th Volksgrenadier Division under its command. And so we've moved most of the 272nd, with the basic idea being of kind of scooting around here, getting on this main road, and trying to trap any American forces up here, so then we could just move, this corps and this corps kind of in a westerly direction. The top corps here, I'm trying, or the top division here, I'm really trying the 89th. I'm trying to just kind of pin the Americans here and then scoot around them there. We'll see how that works out. Then we'll get into down here at the 326th and start thinking about what we want to do there, because directly to their south is another division, the 277th, but that's part of one SS Panzer Corps. You can also see one SS Panzer Corps. It's motorized elements down here, and yet another division that's part of one SS Panzer Corps. And so we're going to have to see how we kind of want those all to operate together. The basic idea, looking to get on these main roads so we can really move with our armor. That's, kind of the I guess if you want to talk real top level stuff, that's what we're trying to do in this initial turn or two. Okay, well, let's get down here and let's look at the 272nd again and just make sure we've got everything done that we want to do. We fired the Divisional Artillery, okay? Then, as this game is set up and as the German army was set up, what you have is in a division, you generally have three regiments, okay? You can see here the 981st, and it's got two infantry parts to it and an artillery part. Now, you're probably going to want to set the artillery back. If we look at their artillery, it's got a range of 5. There's absolutely no reason to have that up on the front lines. Its shorter range gun here, the 7.5 centimeter, the 18, is got a range of 4, and so we always want to keep that in mind and kind of think as of 4. You want to be within 4 of the front and not be right on the front, right? Infantry needs to be right up, for close combat. But the artillery pieces, and you see the same thing. So that's the 981st, the 980th, same setup. We've got two parts of the regiment of the 980th that are infantry, and then underneath here we've got the artillery of the 980th. Now, usually you don't want this on the front line. That's just how we started. So I moved some things up to try to protect it, including Panzerjägers and anti-tank. Now, those you see 272nd there, they're not part of a regiment per se. They're directly attached back to the division, and that's what you'll see, the three regiments set up, and then any supplementary things, the Panzerjägers, the anti-tank, those will be directly back to the division. You can kind of put them in any or with any of the regiments you like to help out where needed, right? Now, they need to be within 5 of the division to divisional headquarters, I should say, to get their full command bonus. They get 100% in the green, they get 75% in the yellow, 50% once it gets out beyond that, and then finally, I think it only goes out to 20 hexes. It would be down to 25% from 15 to 20, or 16 to 20, I should say. Now, you got to be careful with these divisional headquarters. I will say, unlike some other games, like a Grigsby game, they do have some combat firepower. I mean, they've got some stuff. They've got guns, especially the 88 millimeter, what originally started as flak, but are also anti-tank guns, so they can defend themselves. You don't have to, it's not like if this touches it, it's just going to go flying away like in a Grigsby game. They can defend themselves. So just something to keep in mind, but you do want to keep them in some kind of urban cover, generally speaking, if the weather is halfway clear, because Allied air power will target these things and take out those 88 millimeter guns. Okay, down here we've got the 982nd Regiment. Part of that here you can see has already moved out on this road, and we've got some anti-tank with it. This anti-tank actually goes back to 67th Corps, so it goes all the way back to the Corps. We talked about the Panzerjäger and the anti-tank here in gray goes to the division. This one is a Corps level anti-tank. You can kind of, just put it anywhere in the two divisions that you would like, generally speaking, because it's kind of a free agent in that respect. Now, it's a little harder to keep those in command if you're going to keep them up, to the front, because the Corps is generally speaking going to be a little further back. Can we move this Corps up? Well, I want him to move from town to town, and he can't quite get into this town. I'm not going to leave him in clear hexes until we see what Allied air power is up to. You can also see here we've got 405. This is goes directly to the Corps. That is Corps artillery. Generally, the Corps artillery is going to be stronger than the divisional artillery, and then that in turn is going to be stronger than the regimental artillery, which usually just has mortars and that kind of short range, called artillery, right? But it's more short range weapons. I think these artillery, if we look at the 120 millimeter, for instance, now that has a range of 5, pretty good range. 75 millimeter, range of 4. So if you're thinking about these smaller regimental artilleries, that you can think of them that way. And then if we look at the bigger divisional artillery, this has got the 105 millimeter. That's got a range of 8. And then it's also got a range of 11 with the 122 millimeter. And just based on the millimeter size, you can tell that these guns do more damage. These are captured 152 millimeter. The Germans captured these from the Soviets and then, placed them around in different units, whether on the Eastern Front or the Western Front. In this case, 152 millimeter. Look at that. Does a 12 range and really rips up some infantry. Okay, enough artillery talk. Let's think about moving some stuff. Now, I think for now we're going to kind of leave the 272nd. I don't want to get in too big of a hurry here. I was tempted to start, really sliding here, but until we see how uh, how committed the Americans are to any kind of counterattacks, I don't want to open up, certainly not more than a 1 hex gap, and definitely not on a road. So if this road kept going here, I would probably slide over onto it. Of course, roads incredibly important for movement costs and whatnot. So I think I'm just going to kind of leave that alone. I would like to move this unit up here on this junction. We may take some intercept fire, but I want to get this moved up here and just pin this line as it is if we can. Now we'll see. The Americans may just take off on us here, but we'll see. We move them up. We get no intercept fire, so that's good. You can see up here to the Great White North, we've got a triple stack here on the road, and then we've got other units kind of moving up. Now you can see because of the elevation here, I don't want to move this guy down onto the road. We want to keep the elevation if we can. We've got some forest here, and I would be tempted to move up here, but I know we're going to get some intercept fire there. So I'm just going to kind of stay here. And now I'm starting to try to, maybe sneak around this way. Now he would take intercept fire there. I'm going to wait till the daytime, the next part of this day, to see if we want to push there. We've got Stug moving down the road, got the Corps there, and I think now we're ready for the 322nd. And as I like to do, I like to start with the artillery because why? Well, that makes the most sense, right? As you can see, we've got some units back here. I think this one was static, and some of these started way back to the back. We moved them up. We've also got two SS back here and a couple of artillery that are directly attached to this Corps headquarters. So it's two SS Panzer Corps. We're going to throw them onto move mode, and we're going to see how far I can get him into a town. I don't want him to be just sitting out here, and you can see we can't get him all the way there, unfortunately. So I may put him, can I get him to that town? No. I want him to be in a town. So we may just get down here to Goalback. That's fine. Oh, we can get in here. Let's make sure, see what size of town this is. It's a minor city one. Okay. If he can go this far, let's do it. So we're going to bring him down here. Again, I want to keep going here, but we can't get all the way into Schleiden, so we'll have to do that next time, and I want him to go town to town. So let's put him down there, take him off the track, or off of movement mode for now. I don't see any reason to leave them sitting in movement mode if we're worried about air attacks. And again, it's bad weather, so we may not have to do that. But I haven't practiced. I haven't played this scenario at all, so I don't want to be doing something, that I where I just don't know. I'm going to wait and see what Allied air power looks like. The artillery, we'll just take up to this town. All right, and I'll also take that off the track once we get there, and we'll move it, we don't even need to flip it over, it looks like, if we're just moving that far, but I'm going to be a little realistic about it. That's how they would move up there. And so I'll put the artillery there. It's attached directly to the core, and we'll keep moving that to the front. Now, we don't have anything into SS yet, so it's not like, we're just got to burn up the roads to get to the front. Because as of right now, we don't have any cores underneath it, or well, that is a core. We don't have any divisions underneath it, so no real reason to, go flying to the front. You see the Nebelwerfers back here? They are directly attached to the core, I believe. Yep. So 67th Corps, they are attached up here to the core. So the core sits over, these two divisions, and then we got the Nebelwerfers down here. The 277th, meanwhile, goes to 1st Panzer Corps. So they're right behind a 1st Panzer Corps division, even though they're really attached to these divisions up here. Well, that's okay. I mean, we want the breakthrough where the 1st SS Panzer Corps is going to go through, and so having the Nebelwerfers down here is certainly not a problem. Those are rockets, and they are very effective artillery. This artillery, there's nothing left to move there. We've got a Stug, we've moved that up. Okay, the core, this artillery has already been fired that's sitting with the core. And okay, I guess that gets us into the division itself. So let's go to the officer here. It's Kashner. Kashner's 40-40. I mean, he's not great. He's got okay intuition. Okay, great. The first card I want to play is Recon because we've got an American controlled town here. This is Manshau. It is American controlled. If we look at this Recon 55 hex or a Hide 54, but I'm pretty convinced there's probably something here in town. Now, we need it 20 over to make sure that, to be absolutely sure that there's nothing here. If the recon was 74, we could say, okay, there's definitely nothing here. Um, and so we're not there yet. Now, usually you can get kind of a question mark even if you're one over, but in a town, it's got such an obstruct here that you can't. And so we need to be 20 over before we'd be sure nothing is here. But look, there's no way that this town is not occupied by something. Now, as you look down here, we are sitting on a ridge. You can see the height level 1. Monschau is also on a 1. Down here on the road is 0. And so right here, the Americans are down off of a hill from us. So we definitely want to get into this town and we want to push on the road, right? Now it is part of this course, so it's probably going to angle a little bit north, although we do want to give it a little bit of support. This is the infantry that's going to be the northernmost infantry of 1st Panzer, but we don't want this to be too big of a gap. So even if we kind of, maybe vector a little bit north, we want, from here, like north this way. We don't want it to be straight up this way necessarily, because we don't want there to be too big of a gap here. All right, divisional artillery. We've already fired the core artillery, so let's go with the divisional artillery. And where else would we like to kind of break here? Let's look at the height values. That's a 1. We're at a 1. And so, right down here, so like I always say, it's a little hard to tell. Those are 1s. That's a height level of 0, 1, 1. So the Americans are up here on this kind of plateau with us. What is that? That's a 2. Okay, and so that's a 2 and that's a 2. You can see we got a little bit of a hilltop. We'll call it a hilltop here. So we would be attacking downhill here. Um, this anti-tank unit looks very vulnerable. It's here all by itself, but the artillery is not going to do as much damage to that. We're going to want to clean that up with the infantry. So instead, I think this unit's really the one. But let's play our card first. And the card I'm going to play, um, let's do this one. We want to do one of the two by Monschau, right? Let's go to its officer. So you don't have to click on the division here. You can just be on the unit, hit officer, and it'll show you the officer of this unit. And we're going to go ahead and do a recon card, and we're going to do the unit right outside of Monschau because that should give us more recon there. And let's play that card. Okay. And now we see there is indeed a unit there. Now it's just got a question mark. And if we look here, we're now 20 above that. So we did get the information that there was a unit in here. Now, who knows what that is? Probably infantry, but they're going to be much more protected here in town than they would be, out somewhere in the hinterlands from artillery. They can hide in buildings. You get the idea. So, okay, let's go back to our divisional artillery. Let's hit this infantry. Let's just try to concentrate our artillery fire here from the 326th um, on this infantry unit, because if we move this out of the way, we can start to kind of flank them here to the north a little bit. So let's go there. Okay, and I'm going to do it one at a time. We could go up here and pick out the, every bit of artillery we want involved, but I'm going to do it one at a time. So let's go ahead and hit that infantry, see what we get. All right, decent result. You can see the guns we fired. We've got 26 total guns, and we went over these. And you can see 2 bazookas, 1 truck, 20 veterans, 2 U.S. other types of trucks knocked out there. So we went from, I think he was a 62 maybe, down to a 59. So we fired that divisional already. Okay, there's the divisional headquarters, and then we have this divisional already as well. If you look down here, though, it's not quite as good, right? It's 75 millimeter. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. My bad. This is actually regimental arty. It's part of the 753rd, 751st, 326. We should have another divisional arty potentially, but I'm not seeing. We may only have one in this division. Okay, well, we're going to start firing regimental arty then at this unit right here. All right, that looks good. Let's go ahead and attack. He's the most exposed, especially with the regimental artillery. You do not want to really be firing at hard targets. It's not going to kill tanks. It's really an infantry killer, and you want to do units that are not undercover, in a town, in deep woods, something like that. So 10 veterans taken out there. So we fired that already. We fired that already. We have some down here right on the front line. Gosh, I hate that. I think I want to put him up here on this ridge. You can see the elevation change. We're in a level 1. That's a level 2. Let's back him up. Now, we may get some intercept fire here, but I don't really want these artillery to be on the front line. So let's back up. We do take some intercept fire, but we lose nothing. So that's fantastic. That's good. My heart sunk momentarily. Now he's down to 18 action points. So he can fire, but some of the elements in here are not going to fire. He's not going to be as effective this time around, but we're just going to have to live with that. And let's concentrate our artillery fire again on that infantry unit. And we take out 10 GI veterans. We've got him down to an 85 readiness. His entrenchment's still a 133 though, so pretty strong. Okay, we've got infantry. What do we have double stacked here? Infantry and anti-tank. What do we have stacked here? Again, infantry of the 753rd, 752nd is down here, including this part of it. So those are the three parts. 753rd is spread out here. The anti-tank is a divisional element or divisional counter. So just keep that in mind. No attack to be done there. This Artie is on the front line with a Panzerjäger. I don't like that being on the front line. Let's take these engineers, pioneers, as you would in the German army. Let's take these engineers and move them up. Now, they are also directly attached to the division. They're not their own regiment per se. Okay, let's move him down here. Probably going to take some intercept fire, but that's okay because we need to get some, boots on the ground down here. Yep, we do not take any. Okay, well, I'll take that. And then I want to get the arty backed up. And so it's in the proper kind of position. We could take it all the way back here. That would be a movement. If you look down at the black ribbon, a movement cost of 55, or we could actually put it right up here. Can I get there? Well, I can, but I'm going to use most of my movement if we do that. He may be protected there. This is going to block his line of sight over here. Okay, I am going to back him up just one on this already, and we take some intercept fire, but we don't lose anything. And now I think we've, got him much safer back behind the Pioneers here and the Panzerjägers. And now he can fire. So let's fire his arty. He's got 75 action points, so most things should fire there. Now they can fire back. Why is that? Well, they have a range of at least two. Um, Oh, it looks like maybe he would fire back at the Panzerjägers. That's interesting. So not actually at, let's go to the map here. No, it would be back at us at the artillery. So he's got some elements of his counter that have at least a range of two. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and fire anyway. You're not going to scare me off from that. Let's see. We don't lose anything. The regimental already takes out one of the 81 millimeters and a truck. Okay, well, better than nothing. Um, all right, let's take this infantry here to the north. I am going to take him off of this plateau. We could also fire mortars down here at this, but this is armor, right? This is armor. This is the plains. Those are fields. Interesting. Well, do I want him to move down here, or do we just want to fire some mortars into town? I think we're just going to fire some mortars into town here and start trying to soften up whatever is there as much as we can. So this is 326. So this is directly attached to, let's go out of here for a second. This is directly attached to it's not part of a regiment per se. It's its own battalion, Fusilier battalion. Oh, so this actually, it's got Panzerschrecks, Nocktruppen. We haven't run into a Fusilier battalion. So this is its own battalion, right? We've got these regiments that are split up into threes, but these battalions are kind of their own lone wolves, and they go directly back to the division. Okay, cool. Let's fire these mortars into town, and we really won't know what happened there. We fire, 481 millimeters. Who knows if that softened anything up? We're going to have to come at that from something else, but I'm not going to attack directly into town on the morning of day one. I don't think we need to be in quite that big of a hurry in the north. Now, down in the middle, that's a whole different ball of wax. But here in the north, I think we can kind of hold up here a little bit, and then we'll start pressing on town eventually. Eventually. Now, what about this? We could fire. No, that's regular. I don't want that. What I want is a ranged attack on town. So I'll just click on the town hex, go to range, and I'll see everything that could hit this. I don't want to expend the Panzerjägers yet. Okay, it says no return fire out of town. So we're going to fire the mortars from these two pieces of the 751st Regiment. We'll fire in there. We, again, won't know what kind of damage. Well, now we get a little more information on these. Probably because when the mortar fire came down, they moved around a little bit, right? And we see they've got one Jeep. Well, I have a feeling they've got a lot more than that, but we still won't know what that is. Our recon level still 74-54. We could play another card potentially. We've already used our air recon here. The other thing we could use is a grief team and put them back behind here. Now it's 1 point. Is it important enough up here in the north to use that? I don't think so. I think we're going to hold on to that. You can only play that card one time per part, right? So we'll be able to play another one in the daytime. But here in the morning, if we play it, we can't play it anywhere else. So I'm not going to. This anti-tank looks very vulnerable, I believe, and I'm going to come here to the engineers and I'm going to see what the odds would be attacking here. 1 to 5 if it's only the pioneers. Well, that's to be expected, right? Let's bring in the elements of the 753rd. We go 1 to 1 there. Now it's 4 to 1. What if we bring in the anti-tank? Still 4 to 1. I don't think we need anti-tank. That is an anti-tank unit, just firing, anti-tank weapons at each other. I don't think that's going to work. Panzerjäger's also anti-tank. And so we're going to leave these two alone and try to save as much of this we can. But we are going to go after 4 to 1 odds. That's good enough. And I'm going to try to attack anywhere where 3 to 1 or better. Now, we may take some losses here, certainly, but we expect to get the better of this battle, and we do. We lose 10 Volksgrenadiers of the 44 variety. We lose 2 of the 251s, 1 of the 250s, okay? That's not bad. That's not bad at all because we take out 6 76 millimeter AT guns. That's fantastic. 2 bazookas, 20 rear area troops, and 4 US trucks GMC. Okay, and we did. We knocked this out of here. It actually here. You can see with the arrow, it retreated here. Okay, so now this unit is likely to get some intercept fire, but I am going to move him up here on this road as we start to, maybe try to surround this unit a little bit, which seems like the strongest unit kind of in this sector. And if we can get out here, look, to cross the bridge, we're going to have to cross the bridge here, really. We probably don't want to go across uh, the river here. We either need to go across here or here on the bridges. Okay, let's move him up. We'll take the intercept fire. No, no intercept fire. Well, hell, I'll take that. Now he's got, the Americans have a triple stack here. Anti-tank, anti-tank, infantry. It's pretty strong. Looks like a strong, fresh infantry. But we're going to hit that with a lot of artillery next time. This hex. That is a town, Hoffen. Okay, good to know. So he's in a town. We've got a town right here. And there's another town here. It looks like there's a roadblock in there, Mutzenik. And we'll start continuing to pressure here, but we're not going to get carried away in the north. Most of the action is going to be coming from the center, as you might imagine, as did happen historically. Now, we're not going to follow the exact German battle plan because that didn't work, and so we're going to try to do a little better. I'm going to actually focus a little bit more on the north-north up here. So I'm telling you, we're not getting crazy. We're not, but we are going to be trying to push harder there than the Germans did historically, certainly. Okay, the last part of the 326th is right down here. We could try to attack this cavalry. Let's see what kind of odds. It's 1 to 1. I'm not going to take a 1 to 1 on the morning of the initial attacks here. I'm just going to leave him right here, actually. You can see here, this is what? Light forest, okay? We're in the heavy forest. It's very defensible. Light forest with snow. Plains. So I did move him out of the light forest into the plains. He is a little surrounded there. Tell you what, I'm going to back him up. I'm going to back him up one. And now he takes intercept fire going back, not coming forward, but we take no losses. The reason I'm going to do that is That's a strong infantry. We've got another strong infantry here. I was afraid of a concentric attack there, and I'm going to really try to avoid allowing the Americans to get consent. And what am I saying? He's coming from multiple angles, so he gets a big bonus for attacking there. That looks like a place that the AI would want to attack. As we move up here, you can see I don't think he has one chance for a concentric attack all the way to the top. And those are just the kind of bonuses you got to think about. Okay, we're through the 326th, and now we come down here to the 277th. 277th is under Vibig. Vibig, again, 40-40. I mean, these guys aren't, you know, fantastic out here, certainly. They're barely okay. Well, what's the situation? Let's get little bit bigger view here. You can see, first of all, the 277th is in 1SS Panzer Corps. Here is 1SS, right? What all does 1SS have underneath it? Well, you see a lot that are directly attached to it. You also see these Kampfgruppe out here that are, kind of new. We didn't see those in Aracourt. You see a lot of rocket battalions. I think those are battalions. Are they called regiments? No, they're brigades, of course. Battalions, brigades, regiments, kind of all the same sort of sizing. Um, we've got 12 SS here. That goes back to, well, let's just click on 1SS and it'll light up anything under command. You can see that's surrounded in white, surrounded in white, surrounded in white. Where is the command here? Surrounded in white. So all of this is under 1SS Panzer. Okay, good to know. We've also got the FJs back here. Nice. We'll do an airdrop. I may just keep them here in case the weather clears. Although, gosh, they're so effective in battle, even if you're not dropping them somewhere. So those are airborne troops. You can just tell by the NATO symbol, right? Down here, so this is part of 1SS, and then we get down here into the new corps, which is 66th Corps, um, under Lucht or Lucht. Lucht? I'm going to call him Lucht. Uh, that is down here. So this is all one Panzer. The blue, the light blue, the black, the gold, and this blue all the way up here. You would almost think this would be part of the core, but it is not. Let's go back, make sure we're not forgetting anything. We already moved this stuff. I'm going to keep doing that until I get used to and I know where everything is. I'm just terrified of not moving a unit. So here's the dividing line. And what are we going to try to do here? Well, we're going to try to pick one infantry regiment or part of a regiment here for the Americans. So you see the 395th for the Americans. We're going to try to pick one part of this and destroy it. And then push right there. Well, where do we want to push? Well, this is the northern part of 1SS, right? So how much do we want to come south here, and how much do we just want to push directly to the west? Well, if we back up, what all do we have out here? What are we trying to get to? Well, with 1SS, at least the northern segments of it, if you look back here, it's really we want to come in from the north of St. Vith. And really the best way to do that, I think, is to come out here by Vames and Malmedy and then come south, right? And surround it this way. So that should really, I believe, kind of guide us that we're going to want to come down here to Bellingen, or even, Elsenborn out here. We can kind of loop around with the blue down these roads, but eventually their target, I think, is Elsenborn, right? And then here in the gold, they're going to push basically straight forward. Here in the light blue, they're going to be pushing, just to the north of St. Vith. And then finally, down here in the red, this is a new core. They're going to start being the southern pincher of that, and we've got more, down here. And then we run into another Panzer or at least motorized group. All right, and they'll come from the south to St. Vith. So that's our basic idea: is we're going to try to push this way, this way. That doesn't mean we want to get a big gap here, but you can see this is not particularly great terrain. We could leave a little bit of a gap here. Well, if we're pushing this way, let's pick on this unit right here. This one right here. Um, And let's take these Nebelwerfers, even though they're part of this corps, up here, and let's help out down here with 1st Panzer. And I'm going to take the Nebelwerfer back here, and off we go. So let's attack there. And you're going to see generally these Nebelwerfers should be a lot stronger than just basic artillery. The rocket's red glare flying out here. Nebelwerfer 210, we have 16 of them in that brigade. We take out 1 AT gun, 1 bazooka, 10 veterans, 10 greens. Okay, we'll take that. He was the furthest one away. Let's do one closer. And let's hit there. All right, same kind of distribution. We have 17 guns in this Nebelwerfer brigade. We take out 1 mortar, 1 truck, 10 veterans, 10 greens, 1 U.S. trucks. Now, I don't know, obviously, I haven't played the game enough to have tested it or anything, but I would assume, just historically speaking, that these rockets cause readiness and morale to go down quite a bit, also entrenchment, because they are scary. I mean, just talking Soviets, if you've ever seen those Katyusha rockets fire off, it's scary as hell. Okay, we've got one more Nebelwerfer group here, or one more brigade. Let's fire on that same unit and really try to concentrate our artillery, which I'll include the rockets in. 161 millimeter mortar, 2 AT guns, 1 bazooka, 1 truck, 10 veterans, 10 greens, 8 trucks. So we do a lot of damage. And now he's down to a 49. Okay. Uh, is there a card we want to play with Vibig? Well, he's only got 9 command points. I mean, these are defensive cards. We can't play the offensive card. We don't have enough command. We could play Recon, and I think I do want to play Recon. So let's go to this unit. It still shows us its officer, Vibig. Let's click on Recon and play the card on that unit and just see kind of what's out here, or at least start to get some uncovering of those hexes. So we play the Recon card there. You can see this opens up. There's not a whole lot out here, but we did uncover this unit, which is good, so that we don't just get sabotaged. All right, so this is Volksgrenadier Grenadier Regiment 991. Okay, 991, 991. Then back here, 277. Those are the Fusiliers again. Okay, good to know. Um, Okay, cool. And then we've got this is Divisional Arty. It goes directly to the 277th. 289th is Regimental Arty. And then we have the 990th Regimental Arty up here. You can also see the 991st. We've got that on the line. Gosh, I wish the Germans didn't start that way. But let's take the Divisional Arty. And I guess maybe we only do have one per division. These are the big guns. Let's hit that guy, 24 to 1. It says they can fire back, but we haven't seen that return fire really do any damage when we're more than 1 hex away, and this really starts to rip him up a little bit. 2 mortars of the 60 millimeter, 181 millimeter, 1 bazooka, 10 veterans, 50 greens, 6 trucks. He's down to 42 readiness, and that's nice. Okay. This artillery, I really would like to get off the line, but I'm hoping that maybe we can do some other things or move some other things back, and I won't have to move him. So let's take the regimental artillery that's up here, that is behind the line where it should be, and let's fire down there on that same infantry unit as we continue to knock pieces of that out. 3 bazookas, 40 green troops, 1 U.S. truck. Beautiful, beautiful. We do have this artillery that could fire down here, as we're probably going to want to take it off the line. I could put it up here on this ridge, gets even better visibility. We may take some intercept fire, but I'm going to take the chance and move him back. We do not. Now he's down to only 9, moving uphill like that, he's down to only 9 action points, so he cannot fire this round. Oh well, it happens. All right. We fired the Nebelwerfers. These infantry probably aren't going to do much moving. I think we have a height advantage here. Let's look. 1 height. Oh, that's a 1 as well. So these guys are down here on the level 1. There it is. It ends right there, right? Am I right about that? No, it goes out to here. It goes to there. That's level 1 as well. Yeah, you can see the ridge line right there. So this is like a little valley down here. If we're looking zero, oh good. Well, even better that we picked on this here. He's in the plains. He's all by himself. He's scared. Let's go here with this infantry to the T in the road. Okay. Just looking at this. So this is the 991st. We also have this artillery that could move. We've got the 277th, the Fusiliers. Let's get them moving out here to there. All right, so that's a height level 0. So we're down in the valley now. We could move him on the road, or we could move him all the way down here to, the southernmost of this and try to move this guy up onto the ridge line. Now, I don't like this artillery being all by itself. I'm going to back him up. So let's back him up here onto this ridge. Now, he's probably not going to have any movement points when he does that. And I hate, moving him back and forth and not firing mortars. I mean, you need to try to fire them as many times as you can, but I am going to move him back. He takes no return fire. I just don't want that attack to wreck him. You know what I mean? So we've got the artillery back here, and I think I can even move. I'm going to move. He's in the heavy forest. I like that. What is it? This is heavy forest 2. I'm going to move him down here just to protect the artillery a little bit. Maybe out to that ridge line. What is this? That's also heavy forest. But I don't want these guys. I've got everybody in command. I don't think we're going to see a counterattack there. It's certainly possible, and if we're really worried about it, we could put the Fusiliers here. Let's do this. Let's move the Fusiliers there, and now we may take some intercept fire here, but I want to pin any kind of movement this way. So let's go there. We do take some intercept fire, but we lose nothing. Okay, so that works out well. And then this unit, I could go here, but I actually want to go here and pin this in because we're going to be doing something else here in a moment. Um, Let's go there. We don't take any intercept fire. We could continue to move down this valley. You can see there's a ridge line here, but I'd rather get up on the road, but we'll get to that. What we're going to do first is attack right here. So this is the infantry that we've just hit over and over with artillery. Let's see this with one of the infantry regiments, it's 1-2. If we put the other one in, now we're 3-1. We put the engineers in, we're 7-1. Anti-tank doesn't really add a lot until we really run into some armor. I'm going to hold off on those guys. 7-1, we'll definitely take that. I'm not doing any all-out attacks yet. I don't think we need to do that yet, so let's just attack there and see what we get. So we really softened him up beforehand, right? We lose one Panzerschreck, okay? We lose 30 Volksgrenadiers of this type, the STG-44 and the Volksgrenadiers K98. We'll go look at these and see what the difference is. They're obviously different. We'll see exactly what that difference is. I have a feeling. I think well, no, I'm not going to even say. So we lose 30 of this type and 20 of this type. Meanwhile, the Americans lose two 60 millimeter mortars, one 81 millimeter, four bazookas, two trucks, 10 veterans, 10 or 70 greens, and six trucks. So I think overall you'd have to say that's a success as we blow that and it has to retreat here. Now we're going to move forward. So let's move forward here. This infantry, yeah, I'll bring the anti-tank second. And as you can see, we could start blowing directly by him here. And we may, but we're going to move it one at a time to start with here. So one, we take no intercept fire. I'm going to go right by him. And we're going to try to get on this road. Two, we take no intercept fire there. Three, we may take some here, and we would be at a height disadvantage here, but I want to get on the road. Although, would I rather get on the road here and start pinning these guys in a little bit, or here? I actually think this is the better option. 289th. I'm going to go there. We do take some intercept fire. We lose a Panzerschreck and 10 Volksgrenadiers to find out. Well, I don't know where that came from, actually. You can see we took mortar fire. So one of these units fired mortars. Okay, well, that was well worth it. We got going there. And let's take the other part of the 289th. Then go here, go here. See, who else could or would we want to move? We could really get going through here, but we're moving through heavy forest. I'm going to leave him there. The anti-tank, I think I'm going to leave right there. Panzerjäger, I'll leave there. We could move further into this, certainly. Now, you may say, what if he gets cut off? Well, I mean, even if he got cut off for a turn, I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to last for a while. It may actually take them out of position if they try to attack this unit, so I'm not necessarily opposed to it. We've got this guy hemmed in a little bit. Do I have any other infantry? I could actually take the headquarters. So this is a height level 1 heavy forest. What is this? That is also heavy forest. Okay. He's in command. I may just leave that alone. I kind of like the way that's set up now. We've got the arty up here. These guys are just pinning these. We've got the engineers sitting here. Now, they may get counterattacked, certainly, for that infantry because they're not, super strong. But even if they do, we've got things behind that. I tell you what, I am going to move that command up. We'll get him across the river, and we still have everybody in command, but he protects that anti-tank. And if they do blow out the engineers here, we've got something right behind it. Protects the arty. Panzerjägers here. We've got the Nebelwerfers up the road. Regimental arty. Regimental arty. I like that. We've got, we're kind of holding from any counterattack north on this road or south down this way. And next turn, we'll try to get up on this ridge a little bit. But again, we're trying to move down this direction uh, to some extent. We'll leave this a little bit open potentially. Try to get Elsenborn with the northern elements here and try to get down to this supply area. Well, that's it right there. That's the goal then. Bullingen has a minor supply or a resupply area, medium supply base. Well, we want to go right for that then. Speaking of which, now we're going to get into the actual panzers. No, we're not. We're going to back up here. We've moved everything back here. Okay, we've got this Panzer Division, the 12th SS Panzer. Uh, okay, we've got this infantry out here, and I think we're going to do the infantry first. Now, somebody in one of the War in the East videos had criticized and said, you don't follow German doctrine as far as busting through with your panzers and then following and filling gaps with infantry. That is true. That is true, and I don't want to, in any way diminish how good these games are, the Grigsby games are, but this is a game. It's a little bit different. I'm not going to take 50 Panther tanks and go roaming around out here where I don't know where anything is. I would rather move the infantry first, at least on turn 1, until we have a better idea of where everything is located, how the Americans are set up. Because if you get 50, let's just look at a Panzer regiment, SS Panzer regiment. We've got 50 Panthers in that. I don't want that all the way out here to get ambushed, or, I mean, look how far down here it can get, right? I don't want that to get ambushed out here where we don't know where anything is. So we're going to try to do some recon with infantry first. Is it perfectly historically accurate? Probably not, but this is a turn-based game. So we're, all in one turn, we're essentially recreating 3 hours. Even if I move these first in the turn, if these guys get farther, you could argue they went first, even though they didn't go first. Okay, enough of that. We've got Nebelwerfers back here, but until we start to uncover things, I'm going to wait for a second. And where do we want to play our recon card? I'm going to play a recon card again, but where? Maybe here. I like that roadway, but here's the big major road that would lead into that supply source. So this guy's the furthest out. It looks like he can go forever. Let's play a recon card on him. So let's go to the officer. He does have 10 command points. He's better on the defense here, Gerhard, but we're gonna play recon. Forced march. Huh. We could play that this time as well. We've got enough. Okay, good to know. Let's play the recon card. And is that who we want to play it on? No, we want to play it on this guy here. He's kind of the tip of the spear. Let's play that card. And let's see if we uncover anything. Well, we did figure out this is a 64. Okay, well, that's good to know. This is a 55. I think we want to try to blow this out. If these guys can move down the road straight into Bullingen, that would be great. Otherwise, it looks like they can loop a long ways around here, but we've got more motorized down here that could go straight up this road if we wanted it to. Now, this is probably going to go a little more south, and I may just let these guys take Bullingen. But we've got the Nebelwerfers. What is their range? So let's look at these suckers. The Nebelwerfer 210, it 71 on the attack, offensive on soft targets. It's got a range of 5. Okay, and that's that is the biggest part of the Werfer Brigade. It's got the the tracked vehicles to drag it. It's got Nachtruppen that kind of take care of the guns. I mean, well, is that how that works? No, I think these are just kind of supplemental troops to kind of protect the guns. And then we've got the Opel Blitz, which is just a truck. Their range is only 5, so they're not going to be able to hit anything out here. That range is 5. Let's make sure that's the case with all of these. Now, this is the Nebelwerfer 300. Look at this thing, scary as hell. It also has a range of 5. Look at that, 110. Okay, good to know. And then the last one, it's the Nebelwerfer 150, which has a range of 4, and that does a 65 damage. Okay, well, so this one in the middle is the big bad boy. I guess we'll move those after we see how far out here we can get, because ultimately, though they can't really fire this time. Do we have anything back here? We've got anti-air. We've got some pioneers back here that are directly attached to 6th Army. We'll have to get into all this as we move down here. But we're going to do the infantry first. I just think that that's a smarter thing to do. We do have some Nebelwerfers here. That is in range. I think getting rid of this unit or this unit, I mean, that we've got to aim for these two, right? If we can get rid of this and this, especially this one. Is he in a town? Nope, it's just light forest. All right, let's go after this guy. We've got the artillery from the 12th SS Division, the Divisional Artillery. Let's start just blasting away. See what kind of damage we can do, if any. Well, we took his readiness down. We're not showing any losses. Okay. We've got this. We've got some anti-air in the 12th. We've got 3 mech divisions. God, this is a powerful unit. We've got 2 panzer regiments. We've got 3 more mech and an anti-tank. We've got, okay, 12th SS artillery here. So this is divisional artillery as well. He can't. Oh, I'm not on the artillery. There we go. So let's fire here again. This time we take out a little bit more. 10 green troops. He's only got 280. All right, we don't take out. He's got a lot of bazookas. We take out one of this truck and 9 of the GMC trucks. Okay, so we've hit that a couple of times now. That was the mechs, engineers, Kampfgruppe, here under Ott. Now these are interesting, right? They've got 360 Panzer Grenadiers, but they've got these half tracks. The 251s have got a lot of these. 32. They've got 90 SS Pioneers. Okay. 9 Opel Blitzes. They've got 4 of the Panthers. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so they have 4 Panthers in these Kampfgruppes. These are just the basic idea is they're kind of bundled up regiments into one. but they're of different types. They're almost like the modern day, I guess, American special type battalion that's got elements from different things. It's a mix and match to make it as lethal as it can get. Kind of those specialized American brigades. I think of it, American military. That's what I know the most of. But the American military has, you know, battalions, really. I guess they're battalions in the American military that will draw from different things that are in different regiments and kind of put together a superior fighting force. Here you can see they're a value, combat value 70, 71, so it's higher than the just straight up infantry. Now if we put that whole regiment together, that's not the case. But think of it as kind of a specialized battalion, I guess. um Whirlwind, the old Whirlwind. Okay, good to know. Well, so we've got several of these. I'm just going to call them KGs for short. We've got several of these KGs. They're sort of use them like infantry in some respects, but they're more powerful than infantry. Uh, okay, we've got this Panzerjäger up here. That goes back straight back to 12th SS. Okay, good to know. I think we've fired all of this artillery now, right? Did I miss any? None there, none there, none there. We fired that one. Okay, well, now we're down here, and let's take this divisional artillery. Do we have some back here too? No, that's an infantry unit. This divisional artillery and hit this again. It's the one furthest north, and let's see if we can just keep ratcheting him down. Nice. That was nice. When you hit with the divisional artillery and you get a good roll, you can really do some damage. One bazooka, two trucks, 50 greens, eight other of the other truck types. We've got that down to a 46. This is regimental. We've got the Werfers back here. Here's the command. I think with the regimental, we're just going to go for this infantry, more shorter range. So let's go there. See if we do any damage. Hey, we took out one truck. How exciting. Okay, Panzerjägers. Where's your arty? Is it stacked with you? Yep, there it is. Yeah, let's go ahead and fire that arty here. And off it goes. Not doing a whole lot of damage to this guy. We've taken out two trucks. He's in a pretty good position, sitting right here in heavy forest. We may just bypass him, to be honest with you. I don't see any reason to mess around with him. Which means stop shooting your artillery at him. Well, we just let him know we were here, certainly. The comp group they're going to be moving right through here. So these guys really can vector south. Um, Tell you what, I'm going to call this an episode. When we come back next time, we're going to get into 12th Division here, and we're really going to take a peek. This is under Angle again. Good. He's a better defensive general than he has audacity, certainly. But I'm going to figure out with these guys because if you look at the KGs, I mean, they can go for days. Now there are American units out here, I have no doubt. So don't let this fool you like, oh, well, just move right there. I mean, we would get intercept fire along here, but man, they can go a long ways. As can this infantry, and we're just going to bypass this guy. He's up here in the heavy woods on this plateau. We're just going to go around him and cut him off. Hit him a couple of times with arty, but let's get the infantry going. And I may just keep these guys a little to the north and have this part of the Panzer group come down here. I think that's what I may do. But we're going to go into that next time. This has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. Thank you so much for joining me. I had a great time. I hope you did too. Talk to you next time.